if we are doing the good deeds, what happens in our body? That's our duty. So I'm sharing with you the research we did from Positive Thinkers Club Forum about certain things. We have a problem of perception of Islam, especially in the United States, as far as the non-Muslims are concerned, and even among some enlightened Muslims. Now, Allah's message is very clear, very simple, very straightforward, and very scientific. And when I say scientific, it means that despite all the technology and all the development in science, it still humbles itself when it comes in front of Allah's message. It cannot challenge Allah's message. The problem is not with Islam. The problem is with us. We are weak. We have egos. We are most of the time ignorant. Do we need these lights? Do we need these lights? Or you're making...
we are recording.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Since not a lot of people there. So
that's fine. So the problem is not with Islam. The problem is with us. We are weak. We have egos. We are ignorant. We are impatient. We are drowned in distractions. So with our problems, when people see Allah's message upon us, how we are dealing with it, how we are tackling it, those external forces create a faulty perception of Islam. So really, there is no controversy about Islam. The controversy is just our personalities. Now there are different dimensions to good deeds. You know, when we read Quran, when we listen to ulama, we are told that we should believe and we should do amal, good deeds. There is a different dimensions to good deeds. And here I want to mention two terms. And I would like everybody to understand those two terms. One is conflict of interest. As far as creation is concerned, we are dependent upon other creations. We have an interdependence relationship. Even though in America, conflict of interest is kind of illegal when we do business, but it is basically based on conflict of interest. If you are a divorce attorney, what would you like in the society?
more divorces.
More divorces. If I'm a doctor and I treat back pain and there are accidents, say the accident for some reasons are half, my business goes half. So the whole society is based on conflict of interest. There is only one exception. When it comes to relation between man and his creator, there is no conflict of interest. Only Allah has no benefits on what we do. We became all worshippers. We became very good Muslims. The greatness of Allah neither increases nor decreases. It's still great. If we become all losers and we stop following Islam, it is not going to affect Allah's greatness. So there is zero conflict of interest only in terms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we fast for 15 hours, 16 hours, Allah is not going to get benefit from it. Indeed, it is beneficial for us. So the rewards of good deeds are mentioned by ulama, but the real reward is going to come after death. Before death are the consequences of doing something. You might have this experience that if you do something good, with good intentions, with proper etiquettes, the best reward in this world is you are given tawfiq for next good deed. That's a very important consequence. You try it. Try to read one prayer with all its etiquettes, only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with full energy. You will see in the next prayer you will be there. try it with half-hearted. Sometimes you do it in a rush, with like kind of just do it, and sometimes you forget about it. You will be amazed, suddenly you start losing prayers. And you would wonder, how come this time I couldn't even go to Jummah? So, the consequences of good deeds are in this world. And we are looking at the health consequences of Ramadan. When we understand what happens in our body when we fast, that understanding really reinforces our iman. We don't fast to get health benefit. That is just a secondary benefit. We fast because it's Allah's order. But nowadays, because of science and technology, we are able to understand what happens when we fast. That understanding helps us and it reinforces our iman. When we have iman reinforced, that creates an energy. And when we do the good deeds, they are with quality because of that energy. So because we are doing those good deeds, like fasting with shock, fasting with enthusiasm, not taking it as a burden, or my God, now I can't eat, we get connected to Allah. And when we get connected to Allah, then we really start understanding the real benefits of that action. So this goes in cycle. So it's starting something with understanding, which may not have significance 500 years back, but because of science and technology, now we can understand what happens to our liver when we fast, what happens to our brain when we fast, what happens to our muscles when we fast, the vascular system, the kidneys. So that understanding can ignite a cycle in which we can, at the end, really understand what happens when we do good deeds. So the benefits. If we use something in a proper way, then we can get its benefit. If we misuse Ramadan, like we are just fasting, so proper utilization increase benefits, improper utilization, there will be still some benefits, because when you follow Allah's order has so much power that even if you do with it little like careless, still it has some benefits. Definitely some benefits are linked to it, but with proper etiquettes, you get the increased benefits. About health and disease. Before we go the health benefits of salah and fasting or other good deeds, we should understand what health is. When we think of health, we think of disease. But health and disease are not the same thing. Health is not absence of disease. It is basically a line, a spectrum. It's one end is health, and then we stay away from nature, we abuse our body, we do something, at the end we keep on moving towards the other end, which is disease. But our system, when it becomes so messed up that the lab tests and the x-rays and CAT scan become positive, then it is labeled as disease. So if you go to the doctor before that dot, that second dot, the doctor says you're all right, because everything is negative, your blood test is negative, but you're very close to the disease. So most of the time, you can see here, all the medical industry works from this point to this point. They have very little knowledge of this point. Starting from here, how you go from this journey to this journey, they have very little knowledge. We can understand, I think there is from pharmacy, our brother Kankin. Okay, he can give us an idea why the health industry doesn't work here. Can anybody guess why they don't work here? and they want to work just from here to here because that generates money. If you work here and you don't, and you can prevent some disease, you don't make money. So the whole industry is going to work in this part. When somebody is labeled some cancer, heart problems. So we have to understand that the good deeds we do basically is to prevent us from going from here to here. And I will explain how it does. That's why it's a little different. It's not like, you know, you have a heart problem, fast, your heart problems will be okay. No, actually, what heart problems you are going to have, possibility that can be prevented if you follow the good deeds in its proper etiquettes. Let's define health. The main thing to be healthy is to have gratitude in your heart. Now the gratitude is something which is beyond just thanking with words. You really want to see what you have. Just for being we have to thank Allah. You know, we didn't apply that we want to come to this world. Just our existence, and then our existence as Muslim, then our existence as a Muslim who is now given a knowledge of Islam. I mean, all those things, and we have so many ni'mah, we cannot even count. So we have all the reasons to have gratitude, and gratitude is one important thing you can achieve health. If somebody does not have any gratitude, he is on the path to disease. The second important part in health, prevention of diseases, is having a proper diet and nutrition. What we put in our mouth changes the chemistry, and that becomes like 2/3 of most common disorders and diseases originate from faulty eating. When we say faulty eating, means what we eat and when we eat. The timings of eating are very important. Bowel movement, going to bathroom, that's a very important thing for achieving good health. Having flexibility in muscles and strength in muscles is an important parameter of good health. Being sensitive, you never heard of this. The doctors are not going to tell you this, believe me, because you know they are not in that preventive paradigm. But this is what I'm saying is coming from the latest research from Harvard and Cornell and these kind of universities. I took from some papers. I'm not going to go into detail, but these things are coming from those studies. These are not a Muslim perspective. Being sensitive to others is also a very important point. If people are insensitive to others, to their relatives, to their spouses, their children, community, they are on the path to disease. If they don't have any purpose of life, having a purpose of life is also an important ingredient of health. So these are the important ingredients of health, and you can achieve these things very clearly when you fast. How we get diseases? Our immune system becomes weak, and that weak immune system goes in a direction in which we can get infection, cancers, and other problems in the vessels that can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Normal wear and tear occurs in everybody, in every machine. So like every machine, our body also gets wear and tear. The accumulative effect of wear and tear is called degenerative problem. That accelerates when we eat wrong, when we live wrong. When we live with stress, when we live the way we are living, our lifestyle. The stresses of life, the stresses between social, from the social relations, stresses of business, all kinds of stresses. That leads to acceleration of degenerative process and weakened immune system. That has been proven beyond doubt now. That is no more a theory. You know, people say stress does not cause cancer, but stress causes more stress molecules in the body, creates an environment in which the immune system cannot recognize whether this is our own cell or the cell coming from the outside and tries to destroy it, or cannot recognize the cancer cell, and then person gets the cancer. And by the way, habits and addiction. Habits, we don't live our life according to our philosophies. The according to what we say, our main life is being led by our habits and addictions. And all of us have our habits and addiction. We might not know it. There is a complete psychology and chemistry and neurology, neuroanatomy and neurophysiology of habits and addiction. And then of course trauma. The trauma that occurs from accidents, from falls, from wars, and the trauma which occurs every day, day-to-day life. Repetitive trauma. Now I come to Ramadan. Okay, this was very important introduction about how we can achieve health, what is the difference between disease and health, how we get disease, and how we can achieve health. Let's talk about fasting. What we should eat in Sahri. So first of all, Sahri is very important. Don't miss that. Especially the young people, they tend to miss Sahri. And I will tell you why they tend to miss Sahri. They are not hungry at Sahri. It's a very important meal. And by the way, what we do in Ramadan is also applicable to the rest of the time in 11 months. In Ramadan, we eat before prayer. After Ramadan, when we eat, after prayer. There's not much difference. The best time for food is eating at breakfast time. Why? Because we have been designed on cycle of day and night. Allah has designed us on the cycle of day and night. So when the day occurs, it is for work. What we should have? Energy. So that all the enzymes in the body that produce energy, that create energy, they are upgraded. They are awake. They are more in numbers. So the same amount of food when we eat in the morning becomes energy. The same amount of food when we eat at night, what happens? That is for sleep. You're not supposed to work. You don't need energy. So if the energy comes into the body, what it should be done with it? It should be stored. So that becomes fat. All the enzymes which make fat, they are upgraded. So if you eat at night, that is going to make fat. Just the time, just change the timing of the food, your weight problems is going to solve at least 5 to 10%. So Ramadan forces us to eat in the morning. So if you eat Sahri and you become used to eating Sahri, after Ramadan is gone, you eat after breakfast, and that should be your most important meal of the day. The second thing Ramadan gives us a chance is to overhydrate. Drink plenty of water in the morning. After Ramadan, when you wake up in the morning, first thing you do is drink plenty of water. Water is so important for cells to grow, especially in the morning. There is a small price of overhydration. There is a small price of drinking too much water in the morning. Going to bathroom more times, that's okay. So instead of drinking just coffee and tea and all those beverages, let's drink plenty of water in the morning. And Ramadan forces us to do that. What should we eat? Complex carbohydrates. Avoid sweetened food. Those foods which gives lots of glucose into the system in a quick fashion. Complex carbohydrates release glucose slowly. They can take you up to Zohar. And that's very important. Those complex carbohydrates means wheat, whole wheat, brown rice, or even basmati rice, lentils, beans, vegetables. All these things are complex carbohydrates. You should eat most of it at that time. It will take you till almost Zohar time. From Zohar to Asr, your body will take whatever is stored in the form of its own carbohydrates. And after Asr, you're challenged. And that challenge is needed. We need to challenge our system. We don't have chance in any other time to get that challenge. So Ramadan gives us a chance for our system to overhaul by having that. But if we deceive Ramadan and eat all kinds of nonsense food at the time of Sahri, which puts the glucose immediately into the bloodstream, that is going to stress our system. And that stress will be counterproductive. Somebody was asking me that instead of losing weight, sometimes we add weight. It's because of the amount, not just the amount, the quality of food we eat. So at iftar, what should we do at iftar? Simple, water. Water is the best drink. All other beverages, just throw it out of your house. Best beverage, water. You can use some dates before saying Maghrib prayer, and after Maghrib prayer have a normal meal. Normal meal. By normal meal, I mean like the way you would eat, or the way somebody would eat in the village of Egypt or Sudan or Pakistan. Simple, simple. Try to eat simplest food. Don't crave for, since at Asr time you're hungry, and the wife who is cooking is hungry too, so she's going to cook very fancy foods. If that time you can avoid those fancy foods and eat just simple, plain, normal food, you will get the best of Ramadan. And that's basically my message. The systems are going to get the best of it. So avoid abnormals, because you get cravings, and anytime you get craving for something, like for sugar, for other ice cream, for all those things, for milkshake, and the juice and soda and all those things, milk and soda, avoid all those things. Just drink water, dates, and a normal simple food. That you can give you the best possible scenario. So the best gift of Ramadan is hunger and thirst. And look how we do with that. The hunger and thirst. We don't happen to have that hunger and thirst like that in any other months. Because anytime you're hungry, there is a fridge. You open the fridge and eat. You have some chocolates, you have some drink to eat, some fruits. So the whole day people are just keep on eating. They never get hungry. They never get the thirst. The other things, people say, look, I love this food and I am addicted to this. What is the best time you can get out of those addictions is when you're hungry. Any simple food you would like. So if you want to love simple food, this is the best time. But unfortunately, we have so many things to eat. The other advantage of being hungry and thirsty is not for your system that now there is a chance to lead a simple life, but also you become sensitive to the people who are hungry and thirsty. So the sensitivity to others automatically comes with that. Do you know that the poverty line, the almost 50% or above 50% people in Pakistan now are close to poverty line? And the definition of poverty line is that you have one time